It's
I'm
not
going
though,
to
is it?
here for just a second and say for my number three, classified major blood.
Oh.
Yeah,
Nice.
going out there and doing a sight unseen, similar to what you did there with barbecue. I think that Major Blood has a lot of potential for being updated. I'm curious to see if they, continue on with the dog tags. One of the things I thought was cool about the original Major Blood was that he was wearing essentially what was the same as a Cobra helmet, only without the mask.
Mm.
I don't know if they're going to go that direction.
It's a bad look in 2020. Got to put the mask on.
That is very true. But I think there's a lot of potential for that figure. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on what they could do with Major Blood, but I'm curious to see what they do with his arm. That is an arm and not a robotic arm. It's armor, I guess I should say.
I always thought it was armor as a kid.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's armor. I think,
As a the designer in me would be itching to redesign and update Major Blood. He could be very, very cool visually with some like more modern tweaks.
We had images in the Joe Declassified panel, didn't we, Pat, of the original Major Blood vintage figure kind of design kind of inputs? And wasn't there like some aspect of them wanting to have the elbow articulation?
yeah, for sure. There was an indication on the sculpt sheet for where it would be cut, and it looked like the sculpt was actually a little bit different there to indicate that things changed somewhere along the way. I think that as far as bringing that into a modern design, though, the asymmetry that offers, maybe he could have more armor on other parts of his body on that side. It's not like firing a rocket's going to be dangerous, for your arm.
We don't.
Although
It's GI Joe. They don't care about danger. They drive like completely armorless, sticking out the top of a tank kind of vehicles, like no canopies. They're just like hit me.
armor, they kind of do like this at the top of the.
Yeah. Arm shield. Yeah, that's amazing. No, I agree with you on Major Blood. I think that's a really good shout. I personally think they're going to probably stick quite close design-wise to the original, much in the same way they've had a lot of success with Zartan and Snake Eyes and all those kind of guys, where it's been like elements that tweak that update, but like look very similar to the original. Can't
I'll be
wait for
curious to see what they choose to do with the face on that as well, because some of the faces that they're choosing for characters are very fitting of the character that we know,
yeah.
and I really just want to see what he looks like.
I just want him to have a poetry action feature where like you pull a zip cord on him like Woody, and he rattles off really bad poetry.
What was that one that they changed, Pat? Because we had that on the panel as well, didn't we? The original was like, we're going to make you dance with my Uzi or something, wasn't it?
Dance.
Low and woozy, slap a fresh clip in your Uzi, assume the proper firing stance, and make the suckers jump and dance.
Amazing! I cannot believe you nailed that. That's brilliant. Oh mate, that's fantastic. I'm gonna put a beat behind that, like I did with Troy on the panel.
I had so very few file cards at first when I was a kid. I read those first few so many times.
Yeah. There's some absolute beauties in the original line as well. Larry was so good at making so much with so little in those kind of things. In fact, I kind of, in some cases, thought some of his writing in the file cards was even stronger than the comics. Look at that.
There's one right there.
Look at that.
I always thought it was too bad when he put so much character into these file cards,
and they didn't. Yeah,
you would get a character and there'd be so much good character in there, and then they would appear mostly in the cartoon, and none of that character would follow through.
Yeah. I always thought Hit and Run got a bit of a raw deal in the comics because he was only kind of in a few background kind of things. It was never really like, he had a couple of special missions and he even got a bloody redeco in that special missions issue in the snow. Yeah. And I'm like, he got like that kind of all white and blue. He looked amazing, but like, and his file card was packed with so much stuff as well. Like it had, tragic aspects to it and like, but really interesting. But they never really did anything with his character. It's a shame that. But yeah.
Yeah, and with Major Blood's card, I have to think that since Larry was writing the first 82 ones for himself, just to keep things straight for the comics, and then they ended up using them on the package. He probably was like, well, if this is going to end up on the package, I'm going to be writing you poetry.
Yeah.
Just kind of a funny opportunity for him to take right away with Major Blood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, cool. That's your number 3.
Yes, and number 2 is the Retro Fang Pilot.
Wow. 3 in a
Yeah.
row.
Very much the same reasons that were already stated, though I do want to add that, or get input, I guess I should say, of something that I brought up in the previous time when this was first revealed. Wonder if the reason for the new Fang is that maybe they've designed a 3D Fang, 3D model that we could potentially get in the 6-inch, and maybe that's why it's so stubby, is that once that gets translated into a larger vehicle, it will need to be a little more compact to fit in a package, say similar to Baroness's.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's very likely, actually.
Okay.
I think.
That's an interesting point, especially because we were talking last time about the Roblox head, weren't we, and how that was scaled down, digitally and everything.
That's really common. It's all over the Star Wars line where they do a 6-inch figure sculpt, and now they're scaling it down for the 4-inch line, or they'll do like the Titans one is a scaled up version of a 4-inch one. Like, I mean, it's all over the Star Wars line nowadays where they're just rescaling the sculpts.
I would think that they probably still have that old Fang mold around because
they do.
They had it. So this probably is a good way of distributing costs if they potentially were going to design something new and then use it for both.
Yeah.
Or use it for the 6-inch. They could just, forward load it into the 4-inch and offset some of that cost, right?
At least it's new. At least it's new, whereas like the Hiss and the Awstriker are the same things we've gotten over and over and over again. So
yeah, that's a very good point. That's true. We already have a Fang from the 25th, so if you're not happy with it's out there. And then my number 1 for Cobra is Classified Zartan.
Oh, surprise! I was expecting something else.
Yeah, for very much the same stated reasons. I loved Zartan whenever I was younger, and I really do think that they got across the swamp aspect of him.
Sorry, you just said swamp aspect. But if you take... Anyway, carry on. Was I the only one that picked up on swamp aspect?
I'm sure with the Dreadnought diet, they all have swamp.
Sorry, carry on, Pat.
No, it's a good figure. It's the monkey's paw and the head of the cobra that are interesting, but fit within that thing that we were talking about of weird accessories that don't necessarily have to be in there, that are kind of a bonus that we didn't necessarily expect to see. So good job on them, and I like the face sculpt on this one.
Yeah, big shout out to Paddy Lennon for him allowing them to use his face sculpt on the spare mask.
It's holding his eyes almost, because it's just like the whites of his eyes.
Yeah,
so
his dead eyes. So great list. I'm going to make things real simple for mine and real simple for me. At 3, Classified Viper. At 2, Classified Firefly. At 1, Classified Zartan. Done. We've spoken about them at length already. I don't need to go into any more. That's what I'm looking forward to in 2021. Shall we move on to new things of other brands, guys, to freshen this one up a little bit, yeah?
Sounds fun.
Awesome. Back to you, Eric. Take us through what you're looking forward to in other brands in 2021.
Like the last episode, I am leaving off boss fight merchandise.
Yeah, because it's terrible. Like, no one likes it. It's an awful... I'm kidding. It's amazing.
But that said, so my number 3 is the RED Transformers Starscream. And the reason is I said this before. I love the original animation models, and getting super articulated versions of that is very fun and very cool to me. I'm not sure the line is going to be super popular. I think Transformer fans really want that puzzle aspect to them and stuff. So I don't know how long it'll go, but if we get the, with Prime, Megatron, Soundwave, Bumblebee, Starscream, you kind of have the core characters right there. And if they didn't really go on beyond that, I can survive. But
Puffer,
I think it'd be very cool.
Hauler,
Yeah,
Brawn.
yeah. People.
Ryan, I want a Alpha Trion. That would be great. He didn't ever transformed anyway.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, like, how cool would some of the movie characters in that line look? Because he look nothing like their toys. So yeah, that's my number one choice. And of course, from Starscream you can get. I mean, that's my number 3 choice. That's of course from Starscream you can get. Any of the other seekers. So hopefully we'll see some of that.
Thundercracker, Skywarp, Acid Rain.
Acid Rain, I think, is his name, and Acid Storm.
Sunstorm.
Maybe. Sunstorm.
In fact, there's Acid Rain and Acid Storm. I think it's the same character with a different name, isn't it? I think.
Well, Acid Rain is what they showered down, but it's Acid Storm. Yeah.
Oh, Acid Rain was a working title for Acid Storm. That's what I'm thinking of.
REIGN, like Acid Rain. So my number 2 choice is the Mattel WWE Elite Angel Garza. Currently, Angel Garza is tearing it up at WWE. He's one of the best luchadors to come to the U.S. And he's a legacy wrestler. For his father and his cousin is at WWE as well. But yeah, it looks like a great figure. We've only seen digital mock-ups of it so far, but it looks fantastic, and I'm excited.
Comes with removable tearaway pants.
I hope he has them. He
does.
He's got to, right?
That's amazing. I want that figure just for the pants.
Yeah, one of the things he does in the ring is he comes out in pants, wrestles for a while, and then when he's mocking the other person, he grabs him and yanks him off like a
I hope that one of these days he forgets to put underwear on.
Right? How amazing would that be? Anyway, my number 1 choice is, this should not surprise anybody, it's the Mafex DC Aquaman movie Black Mana. I love the Mafex line. It's possibly my favorite toy line currently.
They look awesome,
and they're just gorgeous. They're expensive, but they always come with tons of accessories. And whereas like Black Mana doesn't have like variations on his helmet and stuff. Instead, he just comes with all these different weapons, like the sword, the pop-out knife, the retractable grapple. He's got these jets that you can put on him so you can make him hover. Like, he's just a really gorgeous looking figure.
It looks amazing. That's all I can add to that. It looks amazing. I've no info or anything. I don't know any insight.
He looks exactly like he did in the movie, which in the movie he looked awesome. So,
I didn't even particularly love that movie. Like, I felt like they could have edited an hour out of it and it would have been better. But I love all the designs, and every figure that's come out thus far, I just find myself drawn to it, and it has nothing to do with the media. The designs are just so cool.
Well, there's so everything in that movie looks so classic. It's so like the comic book. They really did a nice job on that visually.
Yeah, the Aquaman that you had on the last show really, really, looks fantastic, and I love it with the kind of vintage style like gear, but like the Momoa head. It's really, really cool. Love that. Anyway, yeah, cool. So that's your number 2. What's your big one?
No, that was my number 1.
Have you done all 3 already?
Yeah, number 2 was Angel Garza. Number 3.
My bad. Yeah, sorry, I'm behind the curve. So I'll start that again. It's up to you now, Adam.
All right. There's a lot to look forward to in 2021, separate of toys.
Not being 2020 is my favorite thing to look forward to, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really, and these could have been in any order. There's even more stuff that but we had to pick 3. So at number 3, I've got NECA's Back to the Future Doc Brown 1955.
Amazing.
I love this line. I have even gotten to contribute a little bit to this line, but that has nothing to do with my opinion of it.
You could have had boss fight stuff, Eric. You could have had boss fight stuff, mate.
Yes. If Eric doesn't want to put himself over, that's his deal. I'm all about the self-promotion. But In this case, it's not really so much self-promotion. I just love this figure, and it's the first Doc Brown figure to come in the line, and, you know, the first Doc figure really ever to be at this. I mean, there's been like a Super 7 reaction figure, there's a Hot Toys, but I don't really consider either one of those action figures in the traditional sense. So for me, this is sort of the first Doc Brown figure, which obviously is, you know, a quintessential character of Back to the Future. So very much looking forward to this, and hopefully many other Docs to come. And we have the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated Muckman and Joe Eyeball.
Brilliant.
Muckman, the original Playmates one, I think might be my favorite action figure of all time of any line.
So good.
It's just, yeah, he's amazing. This sculpt detail, and I don't know why I'm talking about a figure that I'm not reviewing here. So this figure is based on his appearance in the Turtles animation. So obviously less detailed because it's reflecting the animation, but any opportunity to get a new Muckman figure is always going to be welcome in my book. And this is only his third figure ever, I guess. And well, Super 7 has one coming too in their Ultimates line, so I don't know. Third or fourth, depending on how you count. But either way, he's had very few figures in the last 30 years, and this is awesome. And I love that he looks so different from all the others. You know, it's definitely a separation. So very much looking forward to him.
Are we sneaking back into everyone has the TMNT license again? Because we went through that phase, and it really got to the point where I couldn't keep up and fell off completely.
It does a little bit feel like that, yeah.
But NECA and Super 7 are doing incredible work on these lines. Like the both of those companies, I can't pick like who's doing a better job. Like it just seems to be, you know, out of the park, just nailing it with all of the. I love the fact that one is doing like the almost like the ultimate original toy versions, yep, and the other one's doing ultimate screen adaptations. I just think it's just fantastic.
And almost everything both Super 7 and NECA do is amazing. Like across the board, like they're just both such great companies.
Yeah, a lot of talent. Yeah, totally.
And even what Playmates is doing, really, I kind of appreciate that everybody has their own niche, you know, because the problem with everybody having the licenses for a long time, it felt like there was a lot of redundancy.
Yeah.
And with these, it feels like they've all sort of found their own little corner to occupy. And
this is almost worse period of time if you're a TMNT fan, because you're like, yeah, everything's awesome, and I kind of have to get it. Like, this sucks. Like I was speaking to Justin about it. He is like, he's loving this, like the NECA stuff, but he can't keep up. And it's like we're the same. It's like the 1990 movie stuff is just beautiful.
Yep.
The animated stuff and the computer game stuff. Just I love all of it. Like it's. They literally are not doing anything bad at all.
They're doing God's work. Yeah, thanks, Randy. I have to really pick and choose with this stuff. It's just too much. I've gone all in on the movie but with the other stuff, it's kind of just, you know, well, A, what I want, and B, what I can find, more importantly.
Yeah, that's another problem in it. But anyway.
And at number 1, we've got the Spawn Retro Kickstarter figure. You know, everybody in 2020 kind of jumped on the retro bandwagon. We've seen a ton of stuff that's just been straight up re-released off the original molds or retooled off of them. That's going to be a great screenshot. That's my new phone background. But Spawn did something kind of cool. Or McFarlane, I should say, did something kind of cool with Spawn, which is that they went back and remade the very first ever Spawn figure, but with all the sort of modern design hallmarks. So it very much harkens back to the original. The packaging looks like the original, but it's a completely newly tooled figure that's much bigger and far more detailed, far more articulated. I believe this is the most successful action figure Kickstarter of all time. I think it did over $3 million, I want to say.
Bloody hell.
Insane.
It was very fast, too, how quickly they made that money.
Yeah, crazy. Like, they were already over $1 million, I think, within a few hours, even. But I know they've done a lot of really cool things with this. I'm pretty sure I don't have it in hand yet, but the torso, I think, has, like, a rubber coating and some kind of, like, internal snap thing. So, you know, you don't see all the chest cuts, which I know some people don't like.
In some cases.
In some cases. But the Kickstarter, they did a really cool thing with this too, which is, I guess, kind of a cheat for my entry here, but they did 3 versions of the same figure. So, and each one came with distinct pieces. So there's like a black and white version that has a unique head. Some of them have different like necroplasm green glowing effects. And all 3 of them, I think, I don't know, I just got the all-in tier, so I'm not sure how this worked out, but each one of them comes with a hand-signed placard from Todd McFarlane for every figure, which I thought was pretty cool too. So I know you signed like a zillion of them.
3 million we made, Todd. Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I think I could wipe the sweat of the signing with the $100 bills. But yeah, it just looks really awesome. All the promo photos look great. The packaging is very elaborate and ornate. It's got that like black on black like gloss matte finish. It looks really cool, very classy. It's
probably got actual Todd blood in there as well from all that
it's
signing.
Got, like, the fabric pull to open it, all the foam trays. Just very cool presentation. So I'm sure they're going to be huge. I have no idea where I'm going to put them, but it looks really awesome. I think the cape opens out to like 20 inches or something absurd.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be real cool somewhere. And that's my number 1.
Good shout. That's a really, really awesome shout there. Some good figures. Pat, you're next, aren't you, buddy? Take us through your top 3.
Yeah, I'm happy to take you through a top 3 that isn't just somebody else's top 3.
I'd laugh if you're like, okay, so first up is the NECA Back to the Future Doc Brown.
For my number 3, I wasn't sure if I was able to include this one because they're already shipping, is the Boss Fight Studio Hero Hacks Zorro. And I think it's an outstanding looking figure. It really checks a lot of boxes for me because I watched Zorro as a cartoon whenever I was younger, and Zorro's been a long-standing character. So it's actually an opportunity to get a figure that fits in with updating some of the 80s properties that I enjoyed. So I think that it looks outstanding, and I love it.
It's even better in hand.
Just a bit of trivia here. Adam Riches has designed the next 2 sets of Zorro figures for us. Dun dun dun!
World exclusive.
So if you guys hate those, you have bad taste.
Yeah.
Order now.
Philip and I actually probably. It was at least 6 months, maybe a year before this was revealed that we were talking one night and he was trying to figure out a way to customize a modern-looking Zorro figure. So when this got announced, it just felt like it was the perfect announcement. I see a lot of people throw their ideas of licenses out there that Boss Fight should do, but...
Every day.
Yes, every day. But this was one that, we would have probably mentioned, but it just felt like it gets redundant to just mention everything. So it was just very strange that something that he was trying to put together was actually something that was happening. So very excited about that one.
Yeah, good shout. And they are great in hand, by the way.
I can't wait.
I'm literally just rubbing it in every opportunity I get.
I'm glad you didn't make me decide between with or without the horse.
Oh my God, I've got both. I've literally got both over there. Do you want me to go get them and show you on the...
I like them with the cape, so I had to buy both.
Oh, mate, you're gonna be blown away. They're incredible figures.
Great. And then in my number 2 spot, I have Diaclone Reboot. It's the DA65 Battle Convoy VMAX exclusive.
I'm nodding like I know what you're talking about, but my God, I'm sure this is going to be amazing.
Okay, well, essentially what it is hopefully we've all heard the story by now that the Transformers, the original 1984 characters, were taken from mostly 2 toy lines that Takara had created, mostly the toy lines that Takara...
This isn't articulated points, Pat.
Right. Well, this one essentially is based on the toy that became Optimus Prime. So that, Battle Convoy was Optimus Prime. You can kind of see some of the design elements in there, but he definitely veered away from Optimus Prime as far as visuals go, but some of the play features are certainly there. He has the trailer folds out, and it takes some of the 1-inch figures. I think that if you watch the video of the battle convoy that I sent over, the thing looks absolutely amazing.
It does.
Things that Diaclone probably has done that's maybe a little bit of a misstep as far as marketing goes is that whenever they show a new product, they show how it is compatible with previously existing products. And it kind of makes everything look a little more the same going forward. So it's hard to tell what stuff is the toy we're talking about and what stuff is other toys. And this one, you know, they show it with like 100 little figures on there. I'm not really sure how many I'll be getting with it. It just looks amazing. I cannot wait. And then my number one is the Hasbro HasLab Transformers Generations War, and I'm saying it exactly as you typed it.
I know, yeah.
Transformers Generations War for Cybertron Unicron.
Because I chose that too. You.
Yeah. I cannot wait. It's been where is that book? I just got in. There's a new Beast Wars Generations book, which basically shows all the characters, all the toys from Beast Wars that just came out. It's in the other room. I should grab it. But inside there's a picture of the Beast Wars Neo Unicron. So it was interesting to see, again, new, nice, better pictures of one of the Unicrons that didn't come out, in addition to the Generation 1 Unicron that didn't come out. And finally, we are getting, well, it's not like Unicron's never come out before, but finally we are getting a gigantic Unicron that looks like his Generation 1 self.
Yep.
This is probably the third major release of Unicron between
Armada, Energon.
Well, Armada, and then I was going to say Transformers Prime.
Oh yeah, okay.
Unicron was released in Japan, but you know there were some repaints in there as well of the Armada one, and some retools as well that also made it look a little more Generation 1. But this was just so beautiful and so nice. All those updates that Hasbro has shown keep getting me very, very excited.
One of the funniest videos I saw from the Unicron updates was when they got the marketing, one of the marketing team, Rachel, head marketing team, I think, in that. She's 6 foot, and she sat inside the box that it comes in, and they closed it on her. She is 6 foot tall, and she got in there and sat in it, and they closed the box. So that's going to be fun when it arrives on the friggin' doorstep at some other building down the street.
I love the pictures of the cat just scratching up against Unicron. That should be a Transformers meme at this point.
It should be.
Scratching up against various dangerous things.
No, absolutely, like, spot on. Top 3 there, Pat. Fantastic stuff. Right, my top 3. Yes, there will be a slight bit of repetition in here, but thankfully, my number 3 actually goes to Boss Fight Studio again, and it's Hero Hacks, but it's actually Comic Flash Gordon and Ming the Merciless, because when I saw those, I just I think it's like the addition of the colors being just so vibrant and crazy, like almost perfect for the boss fight aesthetic, in my opinion. Like some of the decos that Boss Fight do, this is me tonguing Eric's butthole out at the moment, but some of the decos you guys do on the hacks and on all the lines you guys do are just incredible. And when I saw that Ming, I was like, it's game over, isn't it? I'm definitely
the Ming is the entire color wheel.
It is.
It's got almost every color on him.
Ridiculous, and somehow it works as well. Like it's just gorgeous.
It was really nice with the Flash line to actually do some brighter, more ridiculous colors that we don't usually get into our fantasy line and all that stuff.
Totally agree. It's just wonderful, and both of them. I'm putting both of them in there as a cheat because that Flash Gordon with the kind of like the headgear and everything. I love that version of him. I think he's really cool. The movie, I'm a huge fan of. My mom, my mom and I would always watch that together. Loved it. So I'll be getting her a movie Flash lunchbox at some point. But she, like kind of the nostalgia for that brand of the hero hacks for me is huge. Same with Zorro, actually, because that's another one that I remember as a kid watching the movies and stuff as I was growing up, and kind of like being really into that. And then also Phantom, which is, I was a huge Defenders of the Earth fan, so like I kind of got into Phantom through that. But anyway, that for my number 3 is Flash and Ming for the comics. Beautiful, beautiful figures. At number 2, there's not much else to add here, but it's and to give it its full title, like Pat quite rightly did, Hasbro HasLab Transformers Generations War for Cybertron Unicron. I can't wait. It looks insane. The first time, obviously, watching the movie was the first time I was introduced to Unicron as a character, and that movie stuck with me forever. Like, it's one of my favorite animated films of all time. That one, and obviously the G.I. Joe, well, the Action Force movie. I think it was also known as the G.I. Joe movie in other areas of the globe. But those two for me are my favorite animated movies of all time. Straight, I forget all the other stuff that's probably better. Those two are my all-time favorites. And the Transformers movie had like death and tragedy and crazy, ridiculous concepts, and it was just bonkers, and it introduced tons of new characters, and I fell in love with all of them. Springer is like, I think, one of my all-time favorite characters in Transformers because of that movie, and having the toy as well, the original toy. And yeah, so the first time I even knew that there was an action figure of Unicron was actually when I was traveling to the US around just after New Year. I was in New York, and me and a couple of my friends went to the Toys R Us in Manhattan in Times Square. Obviously, it was mind-blowing experience as it is for everyone that goes there. And lo and behold, there was a huge section of G.I. Joe on the wall, which I loved. But in the middle section, just in front of the G.I. Joe section, was this huge Transformers layout, like huge amounts of toys. And it was like things like the reissues in those kind of like window boxes of the G1 figures, which were really cool. Like, we picked a few of those up while we were there. And then I came across this Unicron, and it was I think it was the second, I think it had both iterations actually on shelves. So at the time, it was the Energon and Armada repaint, or one or the other way around. I can't remember how they came out. But I remember seeing them and going, there's a Unicron toy, and being like, even though it was small, being really like excited and blown away and thought it was the coolest thing ever. So when HasLab said they were going to be doing this, I was like, I'm in. It doesn't, whatever it takes, I'm in. And it took a lot because that thing is an expensive toy, but honestly, don't regret any of it. Don't know where it's going. It might have to replace the Christmas tree at this rate in the house. It's just going to have to be furniture because that thing is gigantic. Anyway, that's my number 2 and my little anecdote for it. My number 1, it might come as a surprise to you guys. I don't know, might do. And funnily enough, I was going to put the Bandai Intercessor Space Marine from Warhammer 40k in my top 3 on the last episode, but there was so many other things that kind of like I just couldn't not include. That was awful grammar. I just couldn't, I had to include them. So unfortunately, that Bandai figure kind of took a little bump. Now, as well as Bandai, McFarlane Toys are doing Warhammer figures. I'm a huge Warhammer fan. I loved it as a kid. And Blood Angels were actually like, I just loved that faction, like the red. I just thought they were so cool. There was so many like, I don't know, like interesting little subgroups and sub-factions. Anyway, when McFarlane Toys said they were going to be doing Warhammer 40k kind of Space Marines and other, figures as well, I was in. I was like, yeah, okay. So I think I ordered the first wave off either, I think it was Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store. I can't remember who it was, but I got the first wave in, and they're beautiful. They're incredible, wonderful, super heavy, like beautifully detailed, really well-crafted toys. And they just announced this year, for 2021, the Blood Angels Hellblaster. And that is my number 1. I know it's random and kind of really what? But I have been waiting for a Blood Angels full action figure for so long. And I'm finally going to get it now with this Hellblaster. And I really love it. It looks amazing. And that's my number 1. That's it, guys. We've got through it. How happy is everybody right now? And we did it in just about an hour. Not bad, not bad. We shaved like about 45 minutes off by not doing another segment. That's pretty impressive. Guys, thank you for joining me. Any last comments while we're here on what has been a 2020, looking forward now into 2021?
Yeah, if you spent your first day of 2021 watching this, your year isn't starting any better than 2020. And we made it.
I'm going to throw some.
Maybe we made it. I don't know. We recorded this early. We might all be dead. But
that's very true. Yeah, but then again, no one will ever know, will they? I'm going to throw some fireworks in there as well while you're doing that. So that's,
great! Yeah,
that's amazing.
There's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. I think in 2021, there's some, so many of the toy companies are stepping up to the plate and really kind of expanding how they, what they include, the sculpts, the deco. Everything I'm just across the board has been getting, has been getting better and better, and that's good because the competition makes you do better and better and add more and more, and that's good for the consumer. So it's always, there actually is a lot of good stuff coming up.
So look out, everyone! Boss fight's coming for you.
That's right.
Right.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you guys on again. Thank you so much for joining me for the top threes of 2021 and what we're looking forward to. I tell you what, one last thing. I'd want to go do a roundtable. I didn't tell you this was going to be happening, so I apologise. But I want from each of you, looking into the future, what do you most want to see character-wise in G.I. Joe, either in retro or classified? I mean, what are you looking forward to seeing in either of those lines? Starting with Eric, what's your kind of what's your hope? What do you want to see the most in those kind of action figure lines?
I would love to see them upgrade a little bit more than they are. I've said this I mentioned this before, that I wish they would almost push a little further from the real American hero look, but especially with it, I would love to see them re-envision all the different Viper cores, things like the Heat Viper and Saw Viper and Frag Viper, all that stuff could be really ramped up to 20 now instead of they were already kind of ridiculous, but they can ramp them up even further now, and I think that would be a lot of fun to see.
Awesome. Adam?
For classified, I think the only thing that I really am wanting to put out there in the universe is I'd love to see a really beefed up, modernized Serpentor, kind of like the Prime 1 statue.
Hell yeah.
Armorized, packed in with the air chariot, all that good stuff. On the retro side, please finish Ninja Force. You're so close, God, it wouldn't take anything. I mean, you've already got the tooling for Snake Eyes. He's a kit bash, give me that. Beyond that, just some Cobra Law, maybe. I'd love to see Globulus and Royal Guard work in there and finish that off too. But
do you know what? That's something I was going to mention as well when it came back to me, but I'll get to me in a second. What about yourself, Pat?
How high in the sky are we going here?
As pie-y and sky-y as you would like.
Whenever they announced Retro Series, I wanted O-ring figures, and so I see that curmudgeon that's an old man sitting in the corner complaining all the time that he wants his old stuff back. But I think that with some of the popularity of 5 points of articulation and how much stuff has gone retro, that figure style would fit for a lot of even some other properties. I just would love to see O-ring figures back on the shelves in some fashion, even if it wasn't G.I. Joe, to be honest. But I guess if I had to pick something that wasn't quite so me just making up what I want, me, as people are prone to do, I would like to see Flash or Ace. Those were my G.I. Joes as a kid, and that I played with the most. And it seems like Ace is a long shot, because Ace without a Sky Striker, maybe that wouldn't sell to some people, but it would definitely sell to me.
Okay, I'm adding another roundtable thing after this, by the way, but carry on.
Yeah, I would love to see that pressure suit in 6-inch form.
Oh, God, it would be amazing. And I'll just say my thing quickly. Obviously, I want to see Lightfoot. I think that would be incredible in the classified line, especially with all the gear and the little drone. I think that would be adorable. But other than that, now, starting another little quick roundtable, HasLab. Now, you just mentioned something there, Pat, that kind of made me think about this. Do you think? Well, we'll start with Eric again and come back to you because I want to ruin your choice. But what would you like to see, Eric, if HasLab were to do? And I'm not saying pick one for classified, pick one for retro. What would you like to see them do for GI Joe? And what would you like to see them do anything for GI Joe?
I mean, sure. I think anything that can succeed in HasLab, they should try and push. It's a good It's a good creative outlet for the designers to push as far as they can. Like that Razor Crest is incredible.
Beautiful.
Like all the details on the inside and stuff. That's like designer's wet dream to go in and be able to do all of that stuff. So like, I would love to see for G.I. Joe specifically, I would love how about an really nice updated whale for the retro line.
Oh, hell
and
yes.
I'm talking like opening up, like larger, opening up and being able to get inside and mess with all the stuff and like have like, life jackets hanging on the wall and, the sled being something more substantial as a toy that flies out of the front. Like in the comic, didn't the shark at one point like come out of the whale?
Yeah.
Like, how cool would that kind of be?
Not just that, but like in Worlds Without End, they're inside the whale and it's massive and they're sitting at a table playing cards. I want that little table with little poker table with all the cards on it. That would be amazing.
They have like some really cool stuff. Like they can upgrade the turrets to like move or make the motorcycle like almost like a ram that comes out of the back, not just this little like moped thing.
You can just see the kind of unlock levels for something like that. That's actually something that people have mentioned the whale, but they haven't really gone into detail about how it could be, and that is amazing. Yeah, dope. I'm really into that one. Adam.
You guys already know that there is literally only one option for this. And it's the BET, the Broadcast Energy Transfer.
Amazing.
They love using the Sunbow animation in a lot of the Hasbro like marketing, Fan First Friday panels, all that kind of stuff. It seems like such a no-brainer to me. And I know that we could go back and we could remake everything and we could have a $1,000 USS flag, but that stuff exists. I mean, it's out there if you want it. If you want to shell out that kind of big money, you can get one right now anyway. But it's the one thing that really, the BET is literally the crux of the entire movie. And it was never represented in toy form. And
you can have the little circuit boards that slot into that little section. Can you?
They can't hear you, mainframe. Well, in the broadcast, yeah. And on top of that, it's justification for every pack-in figure I want too. This is how you get Globulus, Royal Guard, the Rawhides, you name it.
The BET's activating Action Forces weapons. Sorry, that's in there.
I'll shut it down. See if it stops. Go. So, go to HasLab and
grab my ankles.
All these LEDs in it that like with all the colors.
Oh, that would be so good. Why are we not funding this? Yeah, well, I know what you mean. Like, and you could throw Serpentor at it, and he could electrocute himself on it. That'd be.
They get a sound effect.
Anyway, yes, brilliant shout, Pat. We've ruined your option, so go for it. What do you want?
Not really. I think that one of the things that's been nice about the Star Wars HasLab stuff is that it feels like whenever they come out with something HasLab, the stuff that's at retail kind of supplements that thing. And so my brain is also kind of working on that level. Like, what kind of G.I. Joe thing would they put at HasLab in order to supplement that at retail? And so, of course, I want 4-inch stuff, because then maybe some of the stuff at retail would have a little bit more of a tooling budget to go with it. So I'm not going to say the flag, because that's what everyone wants. But as Adam, you can get one. Just go buy one on eBay at a high price. And I think that maybe it would come down to two options for me: either a really nice Cobra Castle or a classic G.I. Joe pit.
Oh, you've taken my option. I should have gone third. Damn it.
Yeah, something underneath, like, I loved the the original Pit in the comic book, where it was something hidden. You know, we're trying to keep the G.I. Joe team secret from everyone, as opposed to the cartoon where Gung Ho walks up to any little kid and they're like, "Hey, Gung Ho," you know. It's just there's a very big difference between those aspects of G.I. Joe to me, and I really like issue number 3 where Scarlet's up on the ground level trying to keep what's happening below.
Yeah.
People. I absolutely loved that aspect of that issue. That was actually the first issue that I picked up at a newsstand, and you know, it sold me not just on the figures that I already had, but also on the story that went with them.
Absolutely.
So that, and I would love to see a multi-layered Pit. Who knows? Maybe it could be modular to do different levels, or however many levels you wanted to it. Remove some, put them in the order you want. I don't know. Stairwell to chase that Cobra robot. How cool would that Cobra robot be in action figure form? We've never gotten that.
That robot is so Kirby designed.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, like
you're like, yeah, all this curve. Yeah, yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah,
See, what I was thinking of, Pat, with the Pit, that was I really want to see like something like that. It was either that or the HQ with the gun on it, like something really like Sunbow-esque, but like really big, and loads of different rooms and space. You know, Hawk's office, and like, you know, like with in the movie when they're in his office, and it's got the kind of globe on the floor, and it's got like pictures on the wall and the desk, just things like that. I think are really cool, and they could go to absolute town on it. You could even have, you know, things where you could like put a checkpoint to come in, and that could be like the updated checkpoint for, like, you know, that could be a blooming unlock level or something like that would be awesome. But with the Pit, could you imagine if it was like a big kind of thing that you opened out, like split in half, so you'd have both halves kind of almost, you know, the kind of cake kind of maneuver where you like cut the section out and you can see all the interior. How cool that would be to have all the levels on 2 different sides, and maybe you'd open it out and it would like lock open flat and be even bigger. So something like that would be like super cool, I think. You know, you'd make it almost like one of those like toolboxes, effectively. You know, something really awesome like that. But yeah, 100% think retro is the way to go. Strangely enough, with HasLab, and also, do you get the feeling, or is it just me, that we might be ramping up to something in the retro line like this? Just because, in a similar way that Star Wars did, they started reintroducing the vintage collection. Almost, it was after the fact, again, reintroducing the vintage collection after Jabba's Palace got released. And it was like, we kind of don't really have figures at the moment on shelves for this, so let's get them out there. Does it feel like that's happening with G.I. Joe, or is that just me? Does it feel like they're going, let's get these figures on the shelves so people have something to use for, you know, and obviously I understand that we have lots of action figures to use for this thing. It's not like we don't have them already, but there are a lot of people out there that might be interested in getting involved in a HasLab, but without toys on the shelves, that might be you know, is that just me, or do you guys think that too?
It's just you.
Good. Just wanted to check that.
No, I absolutely had that same thought when the retro line was reintroduced, but I definitely think that if that is the case, and you know, same for Star Wars, distribution, they gotta find a way to get this stuff out. I mean, it
can't just be Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, you know, right now, literally finding any G.I. Joe figure at all is a needle in a haystack, and that has to change if you want to try to make a push like that.
I'm still kind of, it's still interesting that they don't have just the outlet online themselves, because they would sell a ton of it in that sense, wouldn't they? Like, I know there's that added extra of exclusivity and all that kind of stuff that does actually fuel a lot of sales, because people think they're not going to be able to get it any other time. So it's almost like, you know, that quick thing, whereas other stuff might sit there because people know it's always going to be there. Does that have something to do with it, do you think? And especially in this time, in this current climate, where there's a lot of difficulties in place as well, do you think that has anything to do with it too?
I love the convenience of online as much as anyone else, but I feel like if the stuff isn't just out there for people to stumble upon, you know, that the exclusivity doesn't even matter at that point. Like, they have to find some avenue to get it to retail. If they can have that also be online, even better. But they just need to canvas the earth with product, you know? There shouldn't be any big box store you go in at any time that there isn't something G.I. Joe to buy.
Yeah.
In 2020, there's been a lot of good action figures, but the biggest problem has been getting a hold of them. But I think that even prior to the craziness of 2020, Walmart did have the tendency to have an exclusive and just dump a ton of them at one location and then have several other locations just not get any at all.
Yeah.
And they were doing better than that with some of the retro Transformers. So I kind of expected the retro G.I. Joe to follow suit. But, you know, finding a retro Baroness or Scarlet, you know, good luck. Because the one online may not ship, and finding them at retail is almost impossible. So I almost think that in 2020, it doesn't have to be an exclusive. If you see it or come upon it, that may be your one chance to get
Buy it.
And sometime soon, you know, as we move further away from the craziness, I hope that is one of the things that changes.
Oh, it's almost like Walmart has so many stores that they can't, and the, you know, G.I. Joe, I'm sure, is on the lower end of production run quantities than, you know, in comparison to Star Wars or Transformers and stuff like that. It's almost like they don't get enough of the product to put it in every store in a substantial way.
Yeah.
But it is always true that there's, with Walmart, some are clearly the ones that get the preferential treatment when it comes to exclusives.
Cool. All right. Well, that's the world put to rights. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me on this kind of look forward to 2021. While technically we are in 2021 as people are watching this. So Happy New Year to all the viewers and listeners. Happy New Year to you guys as well. It's been an absolute pleasure, strangely enough, in 2020 to do so much awesome content with you guys, to be doing the watch-alongs with you know, yourself, Eric, and Paddy, and obviously having Adam and Pat on as much as I possibly could with the weeklies and other bursts and stuff like that. So thank you guys for jumping on. It's been an absolute pleasure today.
Likewise, and I wish everyone a happy, healthy, and prosperous 2021.
Any other words? Pat's like same. Ditto. He just...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm just copying Adam's list again.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And at number 3, we've got happy.
Thanks again, guys, and see you on the other side.
Peace out.
We are back with shout-outs. So we'll start off then with a big shout-out to my wife, family and friends again. We unfortunately couldn't spend Christmas together, and what with me editing constantly, and then suffering a huge tech issue on Christmas Day, which took me out of action for a few days, it really was a weird time. We did our best though, and I'm just happy we all got to speak to everyone on FaceTime, etc. I miss you all so much, and can't wait for the chance to get back to some sort of normality, because we will be travelling immediately as soon as it's safe. Huge shout out to the amazing team at SYMBIOTE Studios. They very graciously sent me their brand new Megatron, Cobra Commander, Snake Eyes and Timber plushes a few days ago, and they are so adorable. Seriously, their products are incredible and so beautifully made. I will post links to each of those plushes in the description if you want to get them yourselves. Do it. They are great. Massive shout out to Brian Sauer, as always, the man behind Assembly Required, and the amazing SAS graphics for this particular special. Seriously, how good are these graphics? They're amazing. You're an actual legend, my good sir. I may put it all together, but he certainly makes us look very good indeed. Huge shout out to all the Full Force presenters for jumping on this special episode. It is truly appreciated, and I can't wait to work on even more great content with you guys this year. Eric, Adam, Pat, your good self, Justin, and of course, Paddy and Brian, who were supposed to be on this episode as well to talk about their upcoming new book project, Total Action Force, The Battle Years. But unfortunately, Brian injured his shoulder quite badly and had to go to the docks. So get well soon, Brian, and we will have you both on for the next one. One more shout out to the late Brendan McCain. 2020 has been horrendous for everyone, but we send our love to his wife Sharon Noble and the family, as well as his friends, including Doug Stone, who posted that really fitting tribute to his animated nemesis. Rest in peace, Brendan. You will be sorely missed. Big shout out to the patrons of the show. You've been great and so supportive this year, so expect lots of awesome Intel episodes, bonus items, and even more fun content in 2021. We will be back to normal next Saturday with the regular Full Force weeklies, and hopefully I can get all this other stuff edited and posted in good time, including a huge backlog of comics bursts to boot. Justin, any shout outs, mate, for this new year?
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, I got to give a shout out to my family, who we've been kind of hunkered down for most of this year, and Christmas was a little bit of a challenge, but it was a pleasant one. We get to stay, here at home and didn't have to run around to all the different families, but we tried to do a little bit of Zoom kind of FaceTime sort of things with folks throughout the day, and the kids handled it like troopers, and it was just a really nice kind of relatively peaceful day. I didn't have to edit all weekend like you did, so I was happy
it was
about
so
that.
bad. I can't even tell you. It was so it ruined. Well, I didn't ruin it because there was nothing to ruin, but it was literally just Christmas Eve, the day before Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day, just all editing and then waiting for things to bounce, and it was horrible. Anyway, that's enough of me.
But yeah, and also I wanted to shout out the Boss Fight Studio. I just got some of their latest offerings just yesterday. There's Zorro and Zorro with Tornado, and they are awesome. They did such a great job on the figures, and I'm so excited to kind of see them get all these new licenses with Zorro and Flash Gordon and Sam and Max, and it's just, I couldn't be prouder of those folks for everything they're getting done, and all the hard work they're doing to make it all happen, and it's really paying off. I mean, the Zorro stuff is just spectacular, and if it's a sign of things to come with Phantom and Tarzan and Flash Gordon, then I think we're all in for a really, really cool next couple of years. It'll be awesome.
You missed me on that because I think my picture made it to the packaging art. So thanks, Justin.
Oh.
Thank everyone but me from Boss Fight Studio.
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody but Chris, yeah.
I'm joking, of course. But yeah, big shout out to Boss Fight. You are doing God's work, lols. We are just there's so much cool stuff coming from them as well this year. It will be this year, 2021. So look out for amazing things from them. Justin, mate, thank you so much for jumping on and chatting with me for this Happy New Year special. Hopefully it's a Happy New Year for everybody. Hopefully it's better than 2020, but then it's got a pretty low bar to get over, hasn't it?
I have to say, that's a low bar, yeah. It doesn't have to do much to be better than 2020.
Anyway, mate, have a great rest of your day. Have a great Happy New Year, a New Year's Day, as we get over all of our hangovers, which we haven't got.
No,
are you going to be staying up till really late and seeing the New Year in? What do you guys do on these kind of nights?
Used to make a big deal out of that. I don't so much anymore. Although last year, we kind of introduced my youngest daughter to the whole staying up to midnight mentality. So I'm a little nervous about what that means for tonight, but we'll have to see what happens. I'm getting too old for staying up to midnight for New Year's, but we'll see.
Mate, I feel that. What's funny is that is a bit of a shame is we would usually go to family friends for a party on New Year's Eve, and it's loads of fun, and we're kind of missing out on that this year, which is a big shame. But it is what it is. We living in odd times, so let's hope 2021 is better and we're not all Mad Maxing it next year. Anyway, mate, thank you so much. That brings us to the end of this special New Year's Day episode. Thank you for watching the Full Force Weekly. Massive thank you to all my awesome co-hosts, Eric, Adam, Patrick, Paddy and Brian, and of course your good self, Justin. See you next year, and as always, Full Force. Oh, we've got to do it together. The last one of 2020. Well, for us it's the last one of 2020, but for everyone else it's our first of 2021, so we've got to make it a good one, okay? After
right.
3, 1, 2, 3, Full Force! Competition time! On this week's show, we are giving away one of these beautiful Micro Machines chase sets and a Jada Toys G.I. Joe Nano Metal Figs pack, courtesy of General Joe's Reborn, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning them is comment on this video wherever you find it with a G.I. Joe/Cobra vehicle or playset you would love to see in the Micro Machines or Jada Toys scale. Best of luck with that, and we will announce the winner on next week's show. Full Force! Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback or questions. We have also started a Patreon page, so if you want to see your name up in lights on these videos or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.